Wordman, Mr. Al-Kamusi.
Thank you, Abdullah. Thank you, thank you. What's going on? You know what's amazing to me? You have no idea what I'm about to do. You're just here because you love me. Make some noise, man. Make some noise. Fill this room with noise and love, man. It's unbelievable. And you know the crazy thing about it really is the familiar faces. There's so many familiar faces in there. It's almost not. I've never been in here. That's the. You know, I have this little like. It's almost like a prayer I do before I come on a stage, anytime before I assume a stage. I say to myself, I hope when I get out there, it's full of familiar faces. And the reason I do that is because I have a belief, I have a feeling that if one day I come up on the stage and I look out, no matter how big the audience, and I don't recognize anybody in the audience, I'm probably doing something wrong. I'm probably not in the right place. So the fact that this room is full of people I know and full of love is very meaningful to me, and honestly very touching that you just basically heard, yeah, you know, Yusuf's going to be on stage, so you're here. And I really appreciate that. I love you guys too, man. Make some noise. I love you guys. And it's, you know, the other thing is that you're here. I really want to talk about that for a second. It's very rare that we're here anymore. You know, for the most part, we're not here. We're alone somewhere, tricking our brain into thinking we're here. But you guys actually came out. You're actually here. And that's very big. It's not just very big for me. I think it's very big for all of us. It's something very important that we show up and be here. You know, I asked, you know, when I was telling a bunch of people, come on out, let's have a show. First question I got, is it live streaming? Is it going to be on YouTube? And I said, you know, maybe, I don't know. But come out to the show. And I have, you know, my friend Wissam Sharafuddin. Make some noise for Wissam Sharafuddin, please. Make some noise for us. Everyone knows Wissam Sharafuddin. I'll tell you a secret that's not a secret anymore now that I say it. I do a lot of writing, and I don't get to publish a lot of what I write, but there's a line in one of my poems called "Everyone Knows Wissam Sharafuddin," and I mispronounce his name on purpose. He's my dear friend, and what's amazing about our friendship is that for the most part we don't agree on anything. We don't agree on anything, except that maybe jazz. But outside of that, really, we disagree on a lot of things, but Wissam will do anything for me. And I do anything for him, and that's what's beautiful. So for Wissam, he has this, don't mind me saying this, Wes, this almost fanatical need to possess history and record history. It's very important to him that we record the best of our history and keep it. And, you know, if you know much about him, he's always talking about, you know, we got to make sure we have, you know, we got to record this, make sure it's there, because it's history, it's very important. And I have almost an opposite view, which is, look, if history is happening, I want you to be there. You know, I want you to be here where it happens, where it's present. And to me, it's what you remember. But we need both, I guess, you know. So God bless you, Wes, and thank you. He's the reason I'm here, really. He was very, very kind to let me come out here and host pretty much the 2023 season of the Dearborn Open Mic. And why we're basically here is I want to tell you why it's important for us to be out here and you know, show our support and get a lot of people out and ready to be in the show, but also recruit a lot of people who have talent and have something to show and have something to say and be able to be out here and broadcast their talent. And that's really important. You know, it's something I really think about. So I really appreciate the familiar faces. Speaking of familiar faces, actually, I want to ask you a question. Look at this face.
Are you sure?
What do you see? I have one of those faces. I have one of those faces where the longer you look at it, the less you know what you're looking at. It's happy and sad. It's old and young. It's angry, and whatever the opposite of angry is, I'm blanking out. Happy, I guess. It's positive and negative. It's hopeful and despairing. It's good and evil. And it's a strange situation to be up here, because in order to engage with you on the stage, I have to find some sort of foundation by which we all have something in common, and then I can build on that in order to connect with my audience. The thing is, we're in an age, well, maybe not in an age, but I think, in so many ways, you look at this face, and I don't know what you're seeing. Some of you see a teacher, some of you see a student, some of you see a relative, a sibling, some of you see a friend from childhood, some of you see a friend from middle age. It's very hard to know what you see. And this day and age, you're responsible for what you say and what you do. And that's kind of why I'm up here more than anything, is really to sort of open up or break this notion that we can't say or be who we want to be anymore. Sometimes I struggle to be who I want to be, especially this day and age, and I'm afraid to be who I want to be. So I come to the stage. Historically, we've always done that. Historically, as a society, when we get locked up and we don't know how to go forward, we assume the stage. We're the only things that do that. We're in so many ways as human beings, we're the only creatures that do certain things. One of them is wear clothes. We're the only things that wear clothes. Sure, we cover ourselves to stay warm, possibly, but the idea of conception as clothes as a form of status or a form of identity, we're the only things that do that. We're also the only things that pretend. A squirrel can't pretend to be a pigeon, for example. It can't conceive of that. But we're the only things that pretend. And that's incredibly powerful, because we can pretend for ourselves, and then we can pretend for others. And so I come to the stage to pretend. The funny thing about it is, the reason I come to the stage is because it's where I can be myself. See, you're out here, maybe you're watching me, you think I'm acting. You think I'm performing. I'm not performing here. I'm performing at work. You know what I mean? I'm performing in line at the grocery store on a Wednesday afternoon. That's when I'm performing. I'm performing on social media. I don't even know who that is. That's a character I created that I probably dreamed up. The stage is where we can be ourselves. Unfortunately, sometimes we infringe on our ability to be ourselves as a society. And the stage is where we've always returned in order to be able to do that. So I say to you, there's a lot of you up here who have talent and have things that you can say to the world and want to say them to the world. And you have the opportunity to be yourself, and I want that to be an opportunity for us to come up. There's a lot of people who have a lot to say. You're noticing things. You're seeing the world changing before your eyes. And you say, well, what's happening? Well, this is where we come up and play it out. This is where we come up and experiment. We try it out. We say, okay, here's what I see going on. Let me play it out, and let me see how this visual experience, not visual, it's a very personal experience. How do you receive that? And then I can read off of that and know what it means and know what it says, So as I get started here, there's a few things I want to point out. First one is, I don't know what time it is. So I'm going to ask if, when it's 7:45, just give me a wave so that I can start wrapping up. This is going to run until about 7:45, 7:50 for those of you who are planning for it. And then after that, basically what I want to do is remember that there's some QR codes up there that say sign up for the Dearborn Open Mic. It's a very quick sign up. You just put in your name and information, and we're going to call you and have you come up to the show. Today I'm just going to kind of monologue for you, talk about a few things, kind of set the stage for what will become the 2023 season of the Dearborn Open Mic, and I want to answer a few questions about that. First of all, what is the Open Mic? So basically, community where people who want to come up and exhibit their talents have a safe space to do so. I'm going to come back to a safe space in a moment. They have a safe space to do so. So basically, we hold the show every third week of the month on Wednesday at 7. And what we're thinking is you basically would sign up if you're interested, and then we can schedule you for a time slot so that you have an opportunity to come up and basically share whatever you have and share your talents, share the things you've written, the things you think about. look at the stage, it's pretty flexible. We can do whatever you want. You know, if you want to come up and read poetry or spoken word, we can do that. If you like to play a musical instrument, you can come up and play a musical instrument. We've had comedians come up, maybe we can get some mats out here and you can dance if you'd like. But it's basically open to everybody and available to our community to get people up here. And also get people in a room where we are here again. Where we are here in a room together again. That's extremely important. So that's basically the vision of the show. So today we're going to be here till about 7:50. I hope we can get a bunch of you to sign up. By the way, even if you're not going to sign up for yourself, if you do scan the QR code, you can share that link with somebody you know right now. So of course we all know somebody who we'd love to see up here. We can share that information with them, they can sign up, and then we'll reach out to you and let you know. I'll reach out to you personally and let you know, and we'll try to find a time that works for you. Now, after 7:50, basically the museum will close at 8 o'clock. And when it closes, we want to clear out as fast as possible, but I know there's a time. Look, I want to catch up with every single one of you, if I can. So, if you walk west on Michigan about a block and a half, you'll see Hada's Coffee. And Hada's has graciously opened its doors for us. So after the show, we'll head over there, grab something to drink, and hang out. Hopefully all of you can make it. Is that good?
Yeah.
Good, okay. All right, make a little more noise, man. Let's make... It's a hard time to be on stage. It's a hard time to come out and speak one's mind. Because, as we all know, if I get a little too comfortable here on the stage, I might say something that upsets somebody. And we have this dual fear of, one is, hurting ourselves, but the other actually, maybe even more so, is hurting others. There's a fear of hurting others. There's a fear of being a burden onto somebody. There's a fear of crossing a line we're not supposed to. And it's just felt like that line has been closing a little bit more, and it's become really difficult to come up and speak our mind. So what I said to myself is, if I'm going to ask people to come up and recruit people to come up onto the stage, I have to make sure and test out whether or not this is a safe space. And it's really, really important to make sure that I do that. Because if I'm going to recruit you up here, I got to know that you're coming up in front of a crowd full of love. Now I'm looking out here, honestly, this is a loving crowd, every single one of you in here. You're a wonderful group of people, and as individuals, I mean, I look into everybody's eyes in here, and I see individuals I know and love. And I say to myself, I want to make sure that they're also living in a community where we're feeling safe. So I said to myself, if I'm going to do that, I can't be a hypocrite. I got to come out here and say something myself. And so I decided to talk about something that scares me. So I'm going to talk about love. It scares me to talk about love. It scares me to think about love. I can't even think about it alone by myself. So I thought I'd come out and talk about it a little bit. What is it? Is it a person? Is it a concept? Is it a feeling? Is it a... It's hard for me to say that I know, to be honest, because I come up here and I'm going to talk about it, but it's hard for me to say that I know what it is. But there's some way I can describe it, and when I reflect on it, here's how I remember it. There was a time when I was little, if I can remember long enough, there was a time when I was little where everyone and everything loved me. So let's say, for example, I'm at home. Mama loves me, and Baba loves me, and my brother loves me, and my sister loves me, and my uncle loves me, and my aunt loves me, and my cousins love me. And it's just a time where you feel absolutely and unconditionally loved. Then you leave, you go to your friend's house, and there's like 15 kids, and you guys go out to the park and you're playing. And everybody's playing with everybody. And everybody's having fun with everybody. And it's just that look in everybody's eyes where their eyes are shining and their face is smiling. Can you picture that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So you have that feeling, and it's everywhere. It feels like the sun loves me too. It feels like the plants love me. It feels like the squirrels love me. And then at some point, and I don't know when exactly this happened, it started to feel like everybody loves me, but under certain conditions. For example, let's just say I used to play with all my friends, and we all used to go out and play basketball. And when we were little, everybody just played basketball. You bounce the ball around, and then you throw it up, and whatever happens, happens. But everybody's playing. At some point, I don't remember when exactly it was, it became, we all love to play basketball, as long as you're good enough. And so, of course, the ones who are good enough kind of just got together and started playing, and the rest of us would line up in this single file and be picked off one by one, till basically you either got selected or didn't get selected. I was someone who didn't get selected very often, because I didn't have a lot of experience with basketball. Didn't have a basketball room at home. I didn't have older brothers and sisters or cousins to play with. So basketball was something I started to play less and less. Right? So it becomes transactional. Same thing with friendships. When I was growing up, everybody was everybody's friend, automatically. We're all friends all the time. And then, yeah, we're friends, but under certain conditions. That also started to change. We're only friends if we get along in one certain way. Or we're only friends if you agree with me on certain things. Or you're only friends if you're friends with these friends, but if you're not friends with these friends, I guess we can't be friends. So it started to change. And I would say beyond conditional is another word I kind of thought of. It became transactional. So there's this other kind of relationship where, yes, we like each other, but as long as one is getting something out of it and the other is getting something out of it, it became transactional. There was an exchange that had to happen in order for that friendship to continue. And the crazy thing is, I don't remember agreeing to this. I don't remember this happening. I just remember that it did. And suddenly that's the way it was. And there wasn't a conversation about it. There wasn't an acknowledgement of it. It just seemed like that was the new rule, and that's how everybody acted. The other thing that happened is rather suddenly, girls stopped talking to me. It's as if they all agreed. So it was a meeting or something. It was like, that's it. So I was like, okay, I guess they don't talk to boys. I guess girls don't talk to boys anymore. That's kind of what I thought. I guess that's what happened. Turns out, no, girls talk to boys, just not boys like me. No, they talk to boys. And when I looked at the boys they talked to, I was, of course it's like, okay, yeah. They're not me, right? I mean, they're bigger, and they're taller, and they're meaner. And when they're mean, it's funny. And when they're nice, it's not. And that's about all I knew. That was the end of it. And I just tried to navigate that, right? Like, it just changed. I guess is what I'm trying to say. It became transactional and it changed. And suddenly that feeling that everybody was going to love me all the time was gone. And it became either it has to be transactional or it has to be conditional. And I just kind of have been playing out since. But lately I've been really thinking about that. And I've been wondering when that happened and why. And whether or not it's real or not. Something else happens that I think is really important. Well, I thought it was really important when I thought of it, is as this started to happen, I noticed not only were people around me changing, I was changing too. I was kind of starting to act the same way. So, if for example, I had a group of friends who decided, well, you're not good enough at bowling, so we're going to stop calling you for, say, bowling, right? I found myself going to the next group and doing that to somebody else. Because that's the way, that's what it was now. So I mean, I was just following along with what I saw. I just did what I saw. That's what it was at this point. So I went along with it. And so that became normalized. What's changed? I think what changed, at least as far as I can reflect on it, is openness. And what I mean by openness is when I love something and it closes its door on me, I also close up on it. And I think about my relationship with this town, my home, Dearborn. I remember growing up loving Dearborn. I always loved Dearborn. I loved everybody in Dearborn. I knew everybody in Dearborn. And think about it for a second. Do you realize we know everybody in Dearborn? There isn't a person you don't know, or you know somebody who knows them. It's a remarkable place. But I don't know at what point maybe I started to internalize that Dearborn didn't want me. I'm really trying to remember when that happened. At some point, I told myself that story. Dearborn doesn't want me. And so it became, well, fine, I don't want it. Dearborn sucks. I told myself that story a long time. Oh, whatever, I'm not going. What are these people? I started kind of seeing that everywhere I went. I felt unwanted before I got there. It's not really what happens to us when we really think about it, because that's not true. It's not true that Dearborn doesn't want me. I'm here in a room with people who love me. Right? Make some noise if you love me. I mean, I love you too. Did we forget? But we're afraid. I think there's a fear too. You know, on top of that, it's not just that I forgot that. I think there's also a fear of reopening, trying that again, and allowing myself to find out if that's true or not. Because it's very scary to open up as well once you've been closed. So, for example, if let's say I had an old friend and I texted him and he didn't answer me, I'd say, okay, fine, I'm not talking to him anymore. Right? I'd create that story within myself. But the problem is, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they're not talking to me because I stink. Talking through this, I think I can remember the first time I had that feeling. At some point in my youth, it was probably around somewhere in middle school, my best friend stopped talking to me. Don't know why. Didn't give me an answer or an explanation, and I never found out. Never knew why it happened, just stopped talking. Now when we don't know, because I didn't know, I was in the unknown, I wanted an explanation. And again, I don't know why we do that. I think if I was in my healthiest state, what I would have probably said to myself is, well, it happened, that's it. You know, make another friend. Just go on. Like, I don't know why I needed to tell myself a story about that, but I had to make an assumption. And I could have made any assumption. You know, when I think about it, I could have made any assumption. My best friend won't talk to me. Maybe it's because my best friend changed. Maybe something's going on with my best friend and it changed. Maybe my best friend has something else going on. Maybe it's not me. Suppose it is me. Maybe he's not my friend anymore because I'm awesome. Maybe I'm so awesome that like it's overwhelming. That didn't cross my mind. Maybe he has to go do something else and then come back to be a better friend. Maybe he's got some work to do and he's going to become a best friend even better next time, right? I didn't say any of those things to myself. You know what I said to myself? I said to myself, am I so hideous a person that my best friend has to get away from me? You know what I mean? And I carried that story. Anytime somebody didn't answer, anytime somebody was too busy, anytime there was any perceived rejection, because that's the other thing. Just because somebody doesn't answer doesn't mean they're rejecting me. But anytime there was any perception that I was being rejected, I told myself, oh yeah, I forgot. It's because I'm such a hideous person that this person wouldn't want to be my friend or wouldn't want to talk to me. It's a tragedy. And if we don't stop ourselves, if I don't stop myself and examine that, it never changes. So I grew up believing that about everything. In fact, sometimes I create that situation myself. You know what I mean? I tell myself that story. It's nuts. I'm going to give you an example. I'm in love with a beautiful woman. Make some noise, man. Just got to remember to breathe. I'm in love with a beautiful woman. It's a bizarre situation. Because, first of all, That's not the news. Okay, so I'm in love with a beautiful woman. What's the bad news?
You're in love with you.
Love with a beautiful woman. That's the bad news. What's the worst news in that?
She doesn't love me back.
She doesn't love me back?
Yeah.
She doesn't love me back?
No.
You guys are sweet. I remember back in the day, that was cute. She doesn't love me back. I remember back in the day when I thought that was the worst of my problems, as though she doesn't love me back. Now it takes you about 3 months to get over a girl who doesn't love you back. It's not so bad. No, it's worse. What's...
She might not be a woman. She loves you more than you love her.
She loves me too, man.
Okay, that's good, bro. That's good.
It's good, bro, yeah. It's absolutely terrifying. It was so much easier when she just said no, and I was like, all right, I got 3 months to, I'll write some poetry, put it on my website, it'll be done, it'll be great. Make some money off of this. No, now I have a real problem. She loves me too. Now I have to... The real problem, look, it's a beautiful thing, but it's terrifying. I'm going to tell you why it's terrifying. Because when you meet that, when you arrive at somebody who loves you just for who you are, something weird happens. I remember the first time I saw it. I looked into her eyes and I saw myself. That's when I knew. I looked into her eyes and I saw whatever's in this body, in that body. It's absolutely terrifying. No, no, better look. There's a moment where that happens and you realize this is real. It's real. It's not like social media, man. It's not like the movies. It's not, no, this is, you've met something that you can connect with on a level where suddenly there's an open channel. The Bible and the Quran, they describe the story of Adam and Eve eating from the tree of knowledge and then recognizing their nakedness. I'm sure that's literal. But from a metaphorical perspective, that's, I think, what I experienced. Is I looked into somebody's eyes and I saw myself, all of myself. The good things about me, the bad things about me, the great, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it was all manifest before me. And the problem, selfishly speaking, the problem with that is when you see that, you have to face who you are. Because that person doesn't react to your BS. So if I try to say something wrong, or I try to manipulate, or I try to lie to myself, she can see it. She calls me out on it right away. You know what I mean? So now you have to face yourself. And that's what that person is there for. They're there for you to face yourself. And you're there for them. So the same thing happens. If she tries to lie or manipulate herself, I can see right through that. And I just start laughing. That's very upsetting. So it's really not so much that this person is there, but it's that you now have to face who you are. You have to face yourself before this person. Here's the other problem. I'm not used to unconditional love. I remember it. I remember being a child and experiencing unconditional love. But since then, a lot of it has been transactional. And when I start to realize that this person loves me exactly the way I am, exactly for who I am, and that's not going to change, I freaked out. I said to myself, there must be a trick. There must be something transactional. I'm going to tell you a true story. I called her up. And without saying it directly, I sort of insinuated that she might be trying to manipulate me. I said something like, "What's your angle?" What's your angle? Like, what are you going to get out of this? She had gotten me a gift. I told her I threw it away. I tried to throw it away. I swear to God, I tried. I couldn't. But I told her I did. And I watched that person in that body, that me, go from, because I'm saying this to her face, go from euphoria, joy, gratitude, appreciation, to shock, worry, confusion, anger, but most of all, hurt. I said to myself, I screwed up.
Yeah, I did.
Next day we texted good morning, and that evening she said, I need time and space. Make some noise, man, I need it. I need time and space. So she gets time and space, of course. But here's what really is the most important thing about this. Immediately what I felt when that happened was the need to close down again. Remember that feeling when somebody rejects you, so you go, fine, I reject you. Kind of like Dearborn. So I was like, I'm going to shut down. Whatever. Who cares? This is what always happens. I'm too hideous to... And then I stopped. I don't know why this time around something stopped me. I don't know if it's because it's happened 100,000 times. I don't know if it's because I've grown wiser over the years. I don't know what it was. Or maybe I just tripped over, so like I don't want to give myself that much credit. Like, oh, maybe I'm wiser. No, I mean, maybe I just tripped over it for a second. And I said, wait a minute. If I close up, she can't come back. We can't open that channel again. I think love is flow, is what I'm trying to say. And the more open we are to it, the more likely it is to come through. But if with my beautiful girl, for example, if I had said, fine, as she's closing down, let's be honest, for a good reason, because maybe she should shut down for a while. I gotta get myself together. If she shuts down and I shut down, we can't open up again. But if I stay open, just enough, I keep an ear to it, she'll come back. She'll say, you idiot. You know what I mean? She'll put me in my place like she's supposed to. That's what relationships are. I mean, it's something I've said to her as well. The transaction is a cycle. She's got monsters to fight, dragons. I fight dragons. I am a dragon. So I'll fight your dragons for you. But then I'll come back with all the scars and the wounds and you heal them so I can go out and fight more dragons. You know what I mean? We just keep doing that. I go out, I bring back some heads, I say, look what I got. Look at this, great. But I got some cuts, some scars, some bruises along the way. She says, I'll heal that, takes care of that, and then I go back out. And we just keep doing that. It's a big, beautiful cycle. And the better she heals, the stronger I am to fight. And the harder I fight, the more bruises and bumps and cuts and wounds I have for her to heal. But you got to be open to do that. I have to come up here and be open with you because I realize that I've been closed. I feel like in many ways I have been closed, but I haven't been closed because I'm trying to block anybody else. The contrary, I've been closed because I have thought, perhaps for some time, that nobody wants me to be open. And I think it might be crazy for you guys to hear that, but I think to myself, how many of us are sitting in this audience right now who feel that sometimes towards certain people? Oh, yeah, cool. Make some noise. Sure. See a lot of beautiful people in here, man. My brothers aren't here. Make noise for my brothers, man. I love these guys. I hang out with my brothers, man, and even then, sometimes I can't be present. Believe it or not, there's a part of me that feels like I can't be myself no matter where I go. Can't be myself at school or work. School and work is the same for me. It's great. I love it. Can't be myself in public. Can't be myself on social media. Can't be myself with my friends. Tell myself my friends don't like me, don't love me. Can't be myself in my own home sometimes, with my own family members. We've told ourselves that. You know, I want to say something. I see a lot of young people in here. I want to tell you guys something. This is the truth. If your parents had any idea that you thought that they don't love you unconditionally. It would break their heart. It would devastate them. They have no idea. Your parents are crazy about you. Your parents wake up every day and the only thing on their mind and in their heart is to provide for you and make sure you get a better life than they had. That's all they want. And there are parents in the audience who are nodding right now. They know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not a father. I don't know what it's like. Yeah, go ahead. I'm not a father. I don't know what it's like. And I'll never be a mother. I would never even begin to understand. I wouldn't even try. But your parents are crazy about you. Your parents love you. But somewhere along the line, we must have told ourselves, or there must have been a miscommunication that no, my relationship with my parents is transactional now. It is not. Truth is, love is not transactional. Maybe relationships are, and maybe we have a misconstrued notion of what that is. But man, we love each other. You guys in a room full of people who are amazing. You guys came out here not knowing anything I was going to do or anything I was going to say. You just came out because you like Yusuf. You should get to know each other. I'm serious. You're great people. And if you already know each other, I think for the most part, I think a lot about whether or not I'm open to receive love. If love is a flow of energy, let's suppose that's what it is. It's a flow of energy. If love is a flow of energy, am I open to receive it? Because if I'm not, maybe that's not why it's coming through. Or maybe that's why it's not coming through. And you may say, well, I'm afraid to open up. Of course I'm afraid to open up. Because then it actually happens, and then I'm even more afraid. Because you're afraid of losing it. Because we all remember that feeling. We all remember that feeling of unconditional love. And at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to get back. At the end of the day, the reason we're hustling to make money, and the reason we're getting good grades, and the reason we're going out and doing everything we do, that drive, is so that maybe we can regain that state once again. That's the whole point. There's a beautiful book called The Iliad by Homer. It's a book I read over and over and over. You ask somebody, what's the Iliad about? They say it's about war. It's two armies fighting over land and killing each other, and it's a violent book full of carnage and blood and vengeance and anger. The first word of that book is menes. Menes means rage. You know, rage. That's how it starts. It's like Boys in the Hood times 500. It's just over and over and over. I swear to God. But here's the funny thing about that book. I've read it enough times to tell you it's not about war. It's not about hate. It's about love. The whole reason that war started is because one man took another man's wife. Kidnapped her. Can't do that, man. And then there's another warrior, and he won't fight. He won't fight because his captain, basically because he lost his girl to his captain. So now he won't fight for his captain. So the army's dying, and he's the greatest warrior, and he won't fight. Because he's hurt. Somebody stole his girl. Till his best friend is killed. And that awakens a certain love within him, and he realizes, no, that love was always there. And he gets up and fights, and I can't say it ends happy, but it ends with a story. It ends with a moral. We learn something from that book. You learn something very profound from the Iliad by Homer. It's why we're doing what we're doing. It's why we're here. It's why everybody's here. How am I doing on time?
7:40.
Okay.
It's 7:40?
Look, I'm looking out and there's a lot of people with talent in here that I would love to see up on this stage. All right, make noise for my brother Hassan Mudaffar. I'm a word man. A word man, something that goes back thousands of years. I descend from word men. And what we do is we try to keep the story of the human being alive through words. My brother Hassan also knows exactly what I'm talking about. He too, I'd say, is a word man in his own right. I would love if we could get Hassan up here at some point and have him share some of his beautiful words with us. I would love it, man. And they would love it, I promise. I promise. I have a dear sister, Miss Selma Modi. Make some noise for Miss Modi, guys. Miss Modi wrote a book. You call it a children's book, but honestly I don't believe in children's books. Some of you are my students, and you know, our classroom textbook is Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. That is not a he wanted us to think that's a children's book. That is a lot more than a children's book. It's I love to say this out loud because I love the reaction. Next to the Holy Bible and the complete works of William Shakespeare, Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss is the single greatest masterpiece in our language. Listen, one day I want to prove it to you. Miss Murray, I'd love you to come up and read some of your book to us. It'd be beautiful. It's a story about a little girl in Yemen, and written at a time when we really needed a story about a little girl in Yemen in that beautiful country. I would love to visit Yemen one day. It's a place I'd love to go to. One of the many places in the world, but it's a special place. And when I think about Yemen, I remember many of the instances in that book, so it'd be wonderful to have you up here. I don't want to call too many people out by name, but there's a lot of people I want to see. I got a friend, I mentioned, everyone knows Wissam Sharafuddin. Everyone, you make some noise for my brother Wissam. Wissam does a lot of things. Last year, I forgot what we were talking about, and I know him well enough to know that there's something in him that he really needs to say to the world. And through a conversation, he told me he thought of this idea called the Book of Paris. I told him, write it. He started writing it. And I take no credit for this because that book has been in him forever. I'm just mentioning that was the first time I heard that something like that was coming. A year later, he came out with something called the Book of Paris. I don't know how to describe this experience. But I would love for him to come up and show us a little something from the Book of Paris. Jacob, is that you? What's up, man? Big noise for my brother J.K. Sacred Lasers. Jacob and I used to play together. We were little. It's this funny arrangement. When I was growing up, I didn't have any relatives in this country. My mom and dad came here. My father's from Iraq. My mother's from Lebanon, and we came here with no relatives. So on the holidays, we'd get together with a whole bunch of people. And when I was really young, there was just this remarkable group of Iraqi men who were married to non-Iraqi women. That's what we had in common. So all of us had Iraqi dads and non-Iraqi moms. So a lot of us were Iraqi dads with Lebanese mothers. And some of us had white mothers. And we had one kid who had a Costa Rican mother. Another kid who had a Filipino mother. And we all just got together on the holidays. So Jacob now, he does lasers. He's got this thing called Sacred Lasers, and he tells his story through light, and it's magnificent. It's one of the most inspiring things I've seen. Maybe we can arrange for something like that. I see a lot of you guys. I see a lot of my students who were some of the most talented people I ever met. I always say to my students, I learn more from you than you learn from me, I promise. I learn more from you than you learn from me, and I continue to learn more from you. I'd love to see you guys out here. I know you also know people. Everybody in this room is thinking of somebody. I know it right now. There's somebody who you can see on this stage telling their story before this community. So on your way out, guys, those QR codes, scan them. If you're not going to fill it out, send it to somebody who will. I'd rather you not fill it out on their part, but send it to somebody who will, And let's get some people up here. It's been angry in this town. We've been confused. We really have. And the way to break that is to assume the stage again. That's the way to do it. That's the way we've always done it in our civilization. Is we return to the stage, we play out our problems, we play out our stories, and we heal on the stage. And that's what I want to do. We got all year. I look at us sometimes, I wonder how we got so lost. The truth is, it's just a bunch of hurt. When I look at it, I don't see hatred. I don't see violence. I don't see judgment. I really don't. What I see is a bunch of scared little kids who suddenly don't know how to love, forgot how to love, forgot how to just open up and say, yeah, we're different, but we were always different, and we're always going to be different. And honestly, I'm talking to myself more than I am talking to you guys. I love you guys. I guess I'm ready to wrap up. I just want to mention one other quick thing. As we leave, you know, there's workers in here who also have love, and their love is, you know, their wife and kids at home, or whoever it is, their families, and they probably want to get out of here. Believe it or not, there are people here, while we're out here having fun, they're still at work. So I want to clear this museum as quickly as possible if we can. And if you can, I want to see each and every single one of you and catch up with you if there's time. So we're heading over to Hada's Coffee. It's a walk away. If you park by the museum, it's right down the street if you can make it. If not, I'll catch you right out the door, and then I'm going to start heading over there. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make you a promise. I want to fill this roster for the next show. The next show is the 3rd week of February, and it's on Wednesday, February 15th, which is the day after Valentine's Day. So, to start off the show, I want to fill the house, and here's how I'm going to do it. It's the day after Valentine's Day. So I'm going to tell you some of my Valentine's Day stories to start off the show. And I'm going to read to you some of my old love poems. Or I should say some of my old love letters. The ones I got, and the ones I sent. So we'll start off the show that way, and then we'll have a few acts for you guys, some wonderful talent. I'm looking around, I see Ali out of the... I know I see some other people, there's a bunch of you in here, I'm sorry. If I didn't call out your name, I didn't, but I want everybody who can be up here, and everybody who you know to get up here. I love you guys, I always will. God bless you, and thanks for coming out. Really, I appreciate it.